just create a new project and I'll call this project day 3. Right. In day 2, I explained about the concept of object oriented programming language. Right. And just let me tell you what we were doing with it. In day 3, what I'm going to add the Selenium jar file. Just hold on, it's behind here. So you add the Selenium jar files. Fine. And now in source folder, I'll create a class known as again Selenium Basics. If you want to maximize the window, just double click on your screen. It will be maximized to original size. Sorry, to the optimum size. Okay. So this is the class Selenium Basics. Hold on. I'll increase the font size again. Actually, I'm sitting on a different PC today. Okay, I hope you are able to see this font very clearly. Now, earlier classes, I had told that there are individual drivers, right? You can create the object of those driver classes and the browsers and all will open up. Okay, for example, if you create the object like this, that is new Firefox driver. Okay, and if you run the code, what will happen is that a blank Firefox window will open. Similarly, I had told you that you can create object of Chrome driver, Internet Explorer driver to work on those respective browsers. Fine. Now, the thing is, if there are separate drivers for different browsers, then you have to learn each and every driver separately. Will the functions in Firefox driver, Chrome driver, and IE driver will they be different? Okay, there is a 4 driver like Safari driver. How will you manage that one? How will you manage that class? Right. The answer to this lies in the concept of interfaces. I request you to keep yourself on mute, please, because otherwise there is a lot of disturbance. Right. So now, what is the concept of interfaces? I'll just explain you with a very good example. I'll create a new class, and suppose I name this class as say mobile. Okay. Rather, hold on. I'm sorry. I'll create a new. You get an option over here instead of class, a new interface. Okay, and I'll call that interface name as mobile. Fine. So you get the code generated public interface mobile. Now, what is an interface? Earlier we were making classes. The code was public class, the name of the class. Now out here it is public interface. Look, interface is you can in layman's term it's like something which is abstract. For example, if you go to my website utpselenium.com, fine. Then suppose you go to Selenium training course, then this is the interface of my website. Okay, it tells you what the website teaches you, but in detail, the inside information is not there. Similarly, if you go to a restaurant and you want to have some food, you look at the a la carte menu over there and decide what all you want to eat. So that is like an interface which tells you what the restaurant is offering you for dinner. Okay, so interface is something which tells you what the system is supposed to do. However, it may not implement it, okay, but it will definitely tell you what the complete system is supposed to do. For example, in mobile interface, I can have functions like public void call. Okay, public void recharge. Fine. So these are the two functions in mobile. The function body in the interface. You just declare the functions with semicolon in the end. In the interface, you just tell that fine, any mobile will have the functions like call and recharge. Okay, I hope you are getting my point. Fine. So this is about mobile interface. Okay. Now suppose there is a new class known as say Nokia. Nokia is a mobile, right? So you can write over here Nokia implements mobile. Right, so I'm writing this D when you will come to know I'm writing class Nokia implements the mobile function. If I'm writing that the class is implementing a mobile, this basically means that class will have both these functions. It is mandatory for the class to have both these functions if a class is implementing the interface. Okay, that's why I'm getting an error, because right now that a class was not having both the functions. Okay, so if I move my mouse over there, you will get the option add unimplemented method. When I select that, right, you have both these methods automatically generated inside the Nokia class, right? Okay, and you will have the body for both the methods. You cannot say that when a class implements the interface, it will just implement say one method and will not implement the other method. If a class is implementing an interface, it is mandatory for the class to implement all the functions which are present inside the interface. Okay, right. Now out here I can write or call system.out.println. I'm sorry, Nokia calling and Nokia recharge. Right. Now out here you'll see the symbols like override. These are known as technically these are known as annotations. Okay. They tell us that fine, these methods are coming up from the mobile interface. If a layman is looking at the code, looking at these annotations, he will come to know that these methods were there in the mobile interface and this class is actually implementing these methods. Okay, right. Similarly, suppose there is a new class known as iPhone, right? And this class also I write public class iPhone implements mobile, right? So if you move a mouse over there, you can add the unimplemented methods. Okay, but you know what? These methods will be there for iPhone. Okay, they are coming from the mobile interface. It is mandatory for iPhone to actually implement them, but the implementation can have will have iPhone features like iPhone calling, right? iPhone recharge. Okay, so we have got mobile interface and both Nokia as well as iPhone are implementing the interface. Okay, implementing means they are giving uh, methods, right? The methods which are there in the interface, they are giving the methods definition, the method definition over there. Guys, I request you to please keep yourself on mute, right? Otherwise, there is a lot of disturbance in the background. And if you have to ask a question, you can unmute and ask, right? So now, uh, what is the advantage of this kind of thing? I could have simply made Nokia class, put two functions inside it, iPhone class, and I could have put two functions inside it, right? What is the advantage? The advantage is that the overall concept gets a structure. Just by looking at the mobile interface, you can come to know that fine, there are two functions in this interface, and both iPhone and Nokia are implementing the mobile interface. Okay, they both will have the same functions. All the mobile classes, say tomorrow I make a class Samsung.java, it will be mandatory for me to put these two functions inside it. So a layman just by looking at the interface will come to know that fine, all those classes have these functions. Okay, right. There's a question being asked, is it mandatory to write this override annotation? It is not mandatory. You can skip as well, but generally we write it if the function is coming up from the interface so that we directly come to know that this function is actually coming from interface. Okay, right? So this is the complete picture. That is, mobile is the interface, and all the other classes are implementing the interface. All the other classes will implement both these functions, and just by looking at mobile interface, I can tell what is the like what all functions will be there in the classes, right? And tomorrow, if another class, if another class, it will also have both these functions. Okay, the meaning of implements keyword is that this class will have to implement both the functions, all the functions which are there in the mobile interface. Okay, it will have to implement all the functions which are there in the mobile. Okay, right. Now, how is this helpful in Selenium? How is this helpful in Selenium? If you go to the official website of Selenium, go to the download section and go to the Java doc, that is the Java documentation. Fine. Now these are all the classes which are there inside Selenium, right? These are listed on the left side. Okay, in the WebDriver. Whatever is there in italics, right? It is an interface. For example, out here, mouse is an interface. Interface mouse. Okay, mouse is an interface which actually is implemented by two classes, right? Event firing mouse and HTML mouse. Okay, mouse is an interface. Gopinath, you can have a look at the stuff for me to tell you right now. It will take a lot of time. Right. Mouse is an interface, and all the implementing classes are event firing mouse and HTML unit mouse. So you just looking at the interface, you know that these are the functions like click, context click, double click, mouse move, mouse down, and you know that both these classes, event firing mouse and HTML mouse inside Selenium, they are implementing this. Okay, right. Similarly, similarly, out here, if you look at this word WebDriver, what is WebDriver? Technically, WebDriver is an interface. Okay, and all the classes like Chrome driver, event firing driver, Firefox driver, HTML driver, remote web driver, Safari driver, all the driver classes are implementing this particular WebDriver interface. Right. I hope you are understanding my point. Fine. Yes, Rishi, it can have variables. Okay, I'll tell you. Right. Now that means that all the classes, right, all the classes out here, right, they implement the interface. That means the WebDriver interface out here, which is having these methods. The methods are there in the description in the Java docs like close, find element, get current URL, get page source, get title. So whatever functions are there in the WebDriver interface will be there inside all these drivers. Okay, so you don't have to worry, right? If you have to click on a particular element, particular link in Firefox, the command to click on that link would be same in Chrome as well, because the same function would be called. It's something like the call function is there in iPhone as well, and the call function is there in Nokia as well. The same function is there, right? So similar, because both the classes are implementing the mobile interface. Okay. Similarly, in Selenium, the WebDriver interface, everything is inbuilt. Okay. WebDriver is an interface, and all these classes are implementing the interface. So whatever functions are there in WebDriver, okay, they will be there in all the classes. For example, I'll take a very simple example like a function like close, which closes the current window. Okay, so if you have to close the Chrome, you'll have to write the Chrome driver object dot close. If you have to close Safari, then you'll have to write Safari object dot close, or Firefox driver, then Firefox driver object dot close. So close would be there in all the driver classes. Okay, for example, I'll just tell you. I'll write over here Firefox driver dr equals to new Firefox driver, and then I'll create the object of Chrome driver. For Chrome driver, guys, you need that exe file. Remember? Yeah, it's there. So you have to set the system property, system dot set property, WebDriver dot Chrome dot driver, and you have to put the path of Chrome driver exe. That is, it's in my PC. It's under the location, this location, right? And then you create the object of Chrome driver, say dr2, and this is dr1 equals to new. Chrome driver. Okay, so this is Firefox driver, this is Chrome driver object. Okay, now whatever functions will be there in Firefox driver, like Firefox driver dot get a particular URL, that is say http bbc.com. Fine. The same function will be there inside Chrome driver as well. Chrome driver dot get http. I can say take Chrome to some other website, say yahoo.com. Okay, but the crux is the functions would be the same. If I'm writing Firefox driver, I get a list of functions over here. These would be the same as the functions which you get in Chrome driver, because both these drivers are implementing the WebDriver interface. So you don't have to worry that how to fire a particular command in Chrome and how to fire a particular command in Firefox. You just have to go and refer the WebDriver interface, take out the command from that. That will definitely be in the in all the driver classes. I hope are you understanding my point? Right? Yes, a class can implement more than one interface. It is possible. Yes, it is possible. Right? But don't confuse yourself with that thing right now. Okay? Just learn simple things. Interface is something in which we just have the method declarations. Classes, they implement the interface like iPhone driver and they give the methods a certain body. Right? Fine. So just understand this most simplest part which you need right now, that interfaces have the function declarations and classes implement the interface. All the classes which implement the interface have the same function names. So now this is clear, right? Now going over to the next step. Going over to the next step, that is, I have created the object of Firefox driver. I have created the object of Chrome driver. Fine. Now suppose I just want to work on one browser. Suppose the browser which I want to work, I declare it in a variable, say string browser on which I want to work is Chrome. If the browser is Chrome, I don't want to open my Firefox driver object. Or tomorrow if I take over here to Mozilla, then my code should be smart enough that it should automatically open Mozilla. After opening Mozilla, the command would be the same. Okay. So how do I implement this kind of scenario? Right. We will talk about that now. Right. We will go back to our mobile interface and iPhone and Nokia classes which we had created. I'll create a new class over here. Test mobile, and in this class I'll create the object iPhone I equals to new iPhone, right? And then I'll create the object Nokia N equals to new Nokia. So I have created the objects of iPhone as well as Nokia. With iPhone object, I can access both the functions as I told you, iPhone.call, iPhone.recharge, right? And with Nokia, I can call the functions Nokia.call, Nokia.recharge. I hope you understood the point. With iPhone, I'm calling iPhone.call, iPhone.recharge. With Nokia, I'm calling Nokia.call, Nokia.recharge. If I execute this, it will simply print the corresponding things, that iPhone calling, iPhone recharge, Nokia calling, and Nokia recharge. Right, fine. Now suppose if iPhone is having a function which is only for iPhone, which is not available in any other mobile. For example, a function like public void, say iMaps. Now this is a function which is only there inside iPhone Maps, which will not be there in, suppose there's a Samsung class, it will not be there in Nokia, it will not be there. So this is a function which is only available in iPhone, right? So over here I can call that function. I can write over here iPhone.imaps, but this will not be available in Nokia, obviously, pure logic, right? Now the tricky part comes out here. This is the first way to create the object. There is a way to create objects. Listen to me carefully. Okay, right over here, mobile M equals to new iPhone. So what I am doing? Earlier I was writing iPhone I equals to new iPhone. Out here I am writing mobile N equals to new iPhone. Basically I am writing the interface reference equals to new class which is implementing the interface. This is the interface reference M. Mobile is the interface, right? Reference M equals to new class which is implementing the interface mobile. What is the difference between this line and this line? The difference is that with this line I can only access the functions which are there in the mobile and implemented in iPhone. I cannot access the functions like IMAP which was there inside iPhone, which was only there for iPhone. Alright, I cannot write over here m.imap. I hope you got my point. You can also have a look at the recorded videos. Right. So you can create the object like this as well. You write the interface reference equals to new class which is implementing the interface, and with this you can only access the objects which are there in the class which are coming from the interface. So what advantage of using this? Okay, so I'll come over to it. Hold on. What is the advantage of doing this over this? Okay, the advantage is that I can declare a mobile reference. So mobile M1 equals to null. That means mobile is not, this M1 is neither pointing to iPhone nor it is pointing to Nokia. It is not pointing to anywhere. Depending on my requirement, I can make this point towards, say, new Nokia, or I can make it point towards new iPhone. It is, I'm sorry for the background noise. It is actually up to you whether to make M1 point towards Nokia object or whether to make M1 point towards iPhone object. But in both the cases, through M1 I can only access the functions which are there in the mobile interface and which are implemented in these classes. Okay, right, fine. I How is this used in Selenium? How is this used in Selenium? We all know WebDriver is the interface, right? Interface is WebDriver, okay? And Chrome and Firefox driver are the classes which are implementing the interface, right? Let me make a new class. I'll name the class as Selenium Browser, right? Now earlier we were initializing the objects like this. Hold on. I was writing Firefox driver fd equals new Firefox driver, Chrome driver cd equals new Chrome driver, right? I can also write like this, that is WebDriver and also WebDriver over here, right? Say WebDriver fd equals new Firefox, but WebDriver fd equals new Firefox driver or WebDriver cd equals new Chrome driver. So WebDriver is the interface and Firefox driver is the class which is implementing the interface. It is similar to writing what we had written over here, mobile m equals to new iPhone. Okay, interface reference equals to new class which is implementing the interface. Right. Now I can also write like this. Say I can write driver equals to null. I am not initializing my content. Okay. And depending on the requirement, you can make driver point to new Firefox driver, or you can make the driver point to new Chrome driver. Okay. Okay, there is a question being asked that in my REST mobile, if M1 calls the function, then will the function of Nokia or iPhone be called? If I call over here M1.call, this will call the function of Nokia, and if I write M1.call out here, this will call the function because M1 after this points towards iPhone. Okay, right. Similarly over here, as I told you, I am writing WebDriver driver equals to null, and depending on my requirement, I can point the driver to Firefox driver, or I can point the driver to Chrome driver. How will be the requirement defined? Requirement can be defined in a variable. Say string browser equals to I want to work on Chrome. Okay, right? This generally the browser type information you can later on we will read it from say an Excel file or an XML file, wherever you want to read it from. Okay, so the browser information you can read it from any file. Okay, I hope you are getting my point, right? And you can open that particular browser. Right now I'm hard coding. Suppose it changes to Mozilla tomorrow, then I don't have to change my code. I have to open up Mozilla and start testing on that. Right. So you can keep a condition over here, that is if the browser is equal to Mozilla, then point the driver to Firefox driver. Else if the browser is equal to Chrome, make the driver point to Chrome driver. So when I run this, it will open Mozilla this time because the browser is equal to Mozilla. So if you run this, hold on, see that Mozilla Firefox opens up, right? And if tomorrow if I change it to Chrome, then Chrome will open up. So based on what I need, I am opening the browser, right? And after that, the commands would be same. If I write over here driver.get, say http yahoo.com. So this will, whatever browser will open, it will go to yahoo.com because get function is there in both the drivers because both the drivers are implementing the web driver interface. Are you understanding my point out here? You understood, right? Fine. So if you run this, it opens the Chrome and it takes the Chrome to the Yahoo web page, right? No. Yeah. All right. So this is what the basic fundamental of interface is. Interface is something which is abstract. WebDriver interface will never have the function bodies. It will only tell you that these all functions will be implemented and all the other driver classes will be implemented. Fine. And now the question arises after going to this website, okay, how will I interact with the web page? How will I interact with the web page? Well, as far as Selenium is concerned, okay, Selenium interacts with the web page through the page source. What is page source? If you right click on the page, you will get the option view page source. This is the page source. Okay. Or if you go to any other site, for example, in.rediff.com, fine. On this page, this is the page source. Right. So Selenium works on the page source. It goes into the page source and finds elements. This page source is made up of the language known as HTML. Okay. It is very simple language. HTML is a very simple language. Just go to Google today after the class and type the keyword HTML tutorial. Go to this link w3schools.com. Right. And you will find the HTML tutorial over here. It is very easy language which helps you to build the user interface of the website. Okay, right. I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that in tomorrow's class. Right. Actually, I have to